Today we're speaking to an entrepreneur that's doing £7 million a year in revenue. It's a profitable business in the online fashion space. A business that he really wants to take to the next level, to build it to be a commercially profitable enterprise that he can sell for a big fat payday. Let's find out how we can grow this business. Hey campers, welcome back to Business Broadcast. Hello JB, how are you?
Hi there, I'm very well, thank you. How the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Good to see you again.
Lovely to see you. What have you been doing since last week?
Oh, I've had a wonderful time.
I could see that you didn't change your shirt since last week.
No,
neither did I.
No, that's true.
We batch record. If you don't get the jokes, we batch record. That's it.
There we go. Right, I'm speaking to Matthew today. £7 million business. Had a bit of a wobble over the last year. Had to do a pre-pack administration, the process of, really starting again because things got tough. And I think a lot of businesses over the last 3 to 4 years. In fact, if you remember last week, we done interesting fact or quote of the week. Yes. We said a fact we didn't enjoy it.
No.
Which more businesses went bust up to the year end, July 25, than they did in 2008 in that giant financial crisis, which is just evidence of how tough many business owners are facing.
Every time you phone me, you're like, how are you trading? Trading's tough, isn't it? Trading's tough. Are you still feeling that at the moment?
Actually, we've had at the time of recording this, we're just going into the beginning of September, and we've had a really good August. But April, May, June, for my group of companies, definitely was working a lot harder to achieve a little bit less than we did in previous years, which is demoralising.
Yeah, I can imagine it is. But you're so reliant on, in certain bits of your business, on the weather. And like summer just did not start, did it?
No, but not just that. People definitely don't have as much money. And I think we'll find out. I mean, Matt is in a business where, do you need to buy that new wax jacket?
Probably not.
Do you need to buy that new pair of Wellington boots, or will last year's do you for another year?
Well, I suppose if he's going after actual working countryside people, then that might be a need business. But if it's not, if it's for aesthetics of looking like a fancy country bumpkin.
Oh, this is a love and want business.
Yes.
And every now and then need.
Yeah, occasional need.
But his stuff, I mean, he's not selling workwear so much, I don't think.
Doesn't look like it, no, unless you're...
I'm on the website now. I mean, there's a picture of me there in the country.
If you and Chris Hemsworth had a love child, that's what it would look like. It's a horrible idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
I imagine this is what you knock about in at the weekends, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean,
that's a bit of you, isn't it? Look at that dog. That's like the dog you've got, isn't it?
I like a dog like that. Yeah, but he's hunting, fishing, shooting type customer,
right?
Country farmery type customer. I think that's where he's at. But it's so flipping difficult. So difficult.
This is a family business. This has been going he's the third generation to work in.
I think he said fourth. Which is establishment
what's
helps.
Your thing?
Well,
first makes it, second...
Only 10% of wealth gets to the fourth generation, so he's in the 10% there.
But what's your thing? You've got
first generation makes it.
Yeah.
Second generation maintains it. Third generation loses it.
So, and now he's on fourth. What's he?
Well, I think not many businesses get that. It diminishes every generation.
But have you not got a thing? First makes it, second maintains it, third loses it, fourth does what? Becomes
a unicorn.
Okay, Matthew's fine then. Absolutely fine. He need not worry. Well, the business has been going since 1978. So what is that? Quick maths. It's like 60 years old, isn't it?
As a brand.
56.
But actually, as a business now.
Well, it's 1 year old, isn't it?
Yes.
They were market traders originally from 1978 till 2017. Then they became online retailers in 2008. And Matthew was telling us that it was his uncle who took it over from his granddad. And his uncle carried on the market trader sort of way of selling the clothing until 2008, and he decided, it's actually going to become a thing, this internet, isn't it? Took himself off to college and learned how to code and built a website in Dreamweaver.
Wow.
Now, if you that's OG internet stuff, that is, which is proper. Present day, he joined the business. So Matthew joined the business in 2014 as its first employee. And at that time, the company had an annual turnover of £250,000. Estimated monthly revenue at the time of the application is £585,000 per month, 7 million quid annually. In fact, he needs, at the time of recording, needs £1,000 quid more to get to 7 mil
in
this trading year. Should we just buy £1,000? You need another wax jacket. Give £1,000 worth of wax jacket.
He's done the year end, didn't he? That's what he said.
No, I think he's still going.
Oh right, okay. Well then someone's got to do it. Yeah,
someone's got to do it. How many wax jackets? What's a wax jacket cost? You must have loads, haven't you?
I looked on his website, about 170 quid.
Right. Put Sinclair down for 4 wax jackets then. We'll get him to 7 mil. Team members, he has 24 of them currently, 15 in the UK. Employees fluctuates due to seasonality of business. Oh, that's interesting. He's got 4 overseas employees and 5 directors. He's got some challenges in the business though. Challenge number 1, moving forward from failure. Last year, this is his words, not mine by the way. Last year, October 24, had to do a pre-pack administration. Since then, we've hit EBITDA of £725,000 in net profit and a net profit of 545 to the period ending in October 23 to June 24. We are completely debt-free. Challenge 2, keeping hungry. We've only had one good 9-month period. We need to repeat the autumn-winter of 2024 multiple times. Challenge number 3, building generational wealth for my family, building something that continues after I'm gone, either in its current form or via diversification.
Come on, I mean, this is a man that knows what he's doing. This is good.
Yeah,
this is good. I mean, we can tell a lot about who comes on the show by the quality of the notes they give us. I mean, this is.
Well, people give us one word answer. Do you probably want to? No.
Yeah, this.
Okay, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, this is good. And I love challenge number 3. I love it.
You spend
generational wealth for my family. Like that's. Like thinking about the future and
how few entrepreneurs do you think get to that point of ever being able to think generationally?
Oh, I think a lot of the successful ones do care about that. But I mean, obviously, removing the struggles from people, I don't think is good. I really don't. I'm just going to find a little quote that's not going to be part of Interesting Facts Quote of the Week.
Oh, God, you've got more.
But that building generational wealth for my family, come on, where is it? Okay, hopefully that comes up.
Look at Mr. Beast facts there.
Oh yeah, a society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they shall never sit.
Oh, I love that as a quote.
And that's what that is, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. Where does he want to be in 1 year's time? He wants to have significant cash reserves, ideally £1 million plus, and in the process of planning diversifying Williams Swindles Limited away from just online retail. Williams Swindles, by the way, is the new company name for the company. Whether it's a physical retail or commercial property, storage containers and or buying another business. This guy swallowed the James Sinclair playbook, hasn't he? Got a good business and he wants to start sticking
I don't think
storage
he will ever have
all over the gaff.
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll ever have £1 million in the bank because he's clearly entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And if he's got that money sitting there, he'd be like,
annoyed.
what can I do with it? And
spent it before it's made.
Yeah.
What does the business look like when it's finished? And he says, this is a hard question. HCC, so that's the Holland Country Clothing, would be finished when it's the number 1 country clothing retailer in the UK, and we have forced out the competition or onto page 2 of Google. Yeah, how'd you like them apples? But I don't think Williams Swindle Limited will ever be finished. I want to keep driving it forwards, diversifying, pushing myself outside my comfort zone and keep on learning. Do you make the profit you want to make? If so, what is it? He says, we make a decent profit, but not close to where I want it to be. I would like us to be making £1 million net profit per annum before I am 38. Don't know how it is at the moment then, do we? What do you do day to day with your time in the business? Management of operations, liaising with and supporting the operations manager, management of the PPC spend, which is 470 grand a year, monitoring of the daily, weekly and monthly PPC performance, holding calls with PPC agencies to hold them account and steering the strategy, management of... That's interesting. I'm going to come back to that. Management of SEO strategy, champion SEO within the business, managing of the website development, improving and maintaining the website via relevant teams, management of the finances, liaising with our accounts, processing the month end, which I shouldn't be doing, processing the payroll, which I shouldn't be doing, paying suppliers, reconciling, zero, shouldn't be doing that. Ensuring that we have plenty of cash, ! Responsible for HR and health and safety. He supports the management team, supports and mentors my brother and... Oh, that's nice. Support and mentor my brother and sister in managing their teams. They've also part of the family business as well. And managing and liaising with key suppliers. And then he's got some questions that he'd like to ask you. It's going to be a packed old show, this one, isn't it?
Yeah. But I'm doing a one-to-one with him tomorrow. I'm doing
You're looking forward to it?
Yeah.
He will be great, won't he?
Yeah. He's actually staying here in this building, in this hotel. He's in Manchester right now.
Yeah.
He's going to finish the pod, get in the car.
He should have come down early and been our first ever face-to-face
I was thinking that as
pod
he said
victim.
It. Why did we not think of that? Idiots.
There we go.
Come on, team. Think for me.
I know what you're thinking. Come on, let's get straight into the meat on the bone. But no, because
there's a lot of segments.
One of James Sinclair. Matthew actually said he listened to the segments. He lies. He's like, I thought it needed another segment. Well, your wishes are command, because you've got about 15 of them now, including this one. Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. It's time for the interesting quote or fact of the week.
We're getting fact or quote?
I am going fact.
Oh, good.
I knew you were going to go, you always do quote. You're being lazy.
Yeah. What is your interesting fact then?
This is my interesting fact. Did you know? Because this is about countryside clothing. Did you sew? That's not even what I was trying to say. Did you know that the UK is made up of 91.6% rural areas?
So only nearly 9% is built on.
Yeah, only 9% of this country, which goes very much against the media narrative of, we've got no space, and don't send any more people across our borders because we've got no more space for them. We've actually got quite a bit of space. 91.6% is a mixture of farmland and wild land, although the two aren't mutually exclusive. Only 5.9% of the UK is actually built on. Wow. But the countryside market, I was looking up some House of Lords information about the rural economy. It is a very, very, very... it estimates that the 15% of England's economic output is a result of countryside-based activities.
There you go.
So 90% of the country is countryside, but only 15% of the money we make is due to it. Make your own judgments about what that means, because I could not tell you.
There you go. Well, mine is, I'm going quote.
Okay.
And I love this one. Beware of the tyranny of the minority.
That is very good.
Now, if you've got a business and you've got some customers that are the loudest, the moaniest, and they're not actually generating you the most profit, maybe think about that tyranny.
Yes.
But think about the tyranny of sometimes the loudest member of staff with the wrong attitude towards your company, but they've got the skill set. They are the minority, but that tyranny of that minority sometimes sways your decisions in the wrong way. And I think that the best thing to sort of explain this, if you think about big elections that have shocked us, Brexit, I think a lot of people were shocked with Trumpy coming in the first time round.
Calling him Trumpy, is that what you're going with?
Donald Trump, yeah.
I know. We didn't need clarity on who you're talking about. So the format of potential future president of the United States, who might be the president by the time we get around to this, Trumpy.
I don't think that comparison is right for the tyranny of the minority. But just forget I said that, because that isn't the right analogy.
Scratch that, guys. Everyone look into my eyes, not around the eyes.
I'm trying to think of a really good analogy for the tyranny of the minorities. The people that speak the loudest.
Yeah.
But they're actually in the minority, because actually I think there was a lot of majority Brexit people and a lot of majority Trump people. That's how we got him.
Yeah.
Or got those results. But I think there is a lot of that tyranny of the minority that drives our decision making. Most people are common sense, good, normal people, but that's minority.
See it so often in small businesses, don't you? Yeah, we've got a problem with this. No. We've got one client who's got a problem with this. Let's not exacerbate that situation, or let's not magnify that across everybody, or put in systems and processes to placate an issue that we don't actually have. One person has got it. But like I say, those that shout the loudest tend to have the perception that they take up the most amount of space. On average, if someone has a bad experience, they will tell 9 of their friends. If they have a good experience, they'll only tell 3. Yeah. So it just shows you that bad news or bad experience travels 3 times as far.
Yeah.
As a good experience.
So tyranny of the minority, beware of them, gang. Beware of them.
That's lovely. And that concludes this week's interesting quote or fact. Are you still sold on this as a section?
Yeah, I love it.
Interesting quote or fact.
Why don't you like it?
Interesting quote or fact. I don't not like it. Interesting quote or fact. It's time for the interesting quote or fact of the week. Seeing that gigantic fly just fly past me, I had somebody who reached out to me who is a bespoke, I haven't got them here with me for this week's episode, but they're a bespoke luxury, high-end, I don't even know what we call it, like a fragrance company. You know, you go to a hotel and they've got like the lovely scents. Yeah. He said, I think I've got something that's going to kill off Fred the Fly for you. Can you send me your address? Because I'm going to send you something. He's going to make us a bespoke scent for us, for one for each of us. And he reckons that will be enough to put off Fred the Fly.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, so we're going to, from Dubai, they're importing a luxury scent that's based on...
What, and flies don't like luxury scents?
Flies don't like it now, apparently. Fred the Fly's going to be gone.
I'm going to wear more aftershave.
And we're going to smell amazing, apparently.
There we go, right.
He said to me, what did you reckon Sinclair likes? I said, anything posh. I reckon sandalwood. He looks like sandalwood.
Such a good idea.
Oh, here not another section.
No.
James, fragrance is live. Scratch and Sniff podcast.
Oh, no, I've got...
What is it?
It's got to do... No, I've got a really good thing that I want to do, but I need to talk to Ben because I don't want you to know about it.
Fine.
Okay.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Right. Shall we get into the show then?
I think we probably should.
There we go.
20 minutes later. Right.
Hey gang, James here. Great news. Business Masterclass is coming back to London. This is my ultimate 2-day event that will grow the profitability and size of your business so that you can have a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you in it. I've run this event before. People absolutely love it. We get rave reviews and I'd love for you to come along. Imagine 400 business owners in a room serious about growing their business. Imagine the connections you can make. I'll be on stage teaching you all the stuff that I've learned over the last 20 years in 2 days to seriously scale your business up. If you want to find out how to buy companies, raise finance, get customers, and make your teams as profitable as possible, then this is the event for you. Look, it comes with my 100% money back guarantee. You come along to this event, and if at the end of day one you go, do you know what? I haven't got 10 times value out of what I've paid for this. I'll just give you your money back. And here's the great news. Tickets are only a few £100. And there's no sleazy sales on the day. It's just me delivering all the stuff that I know about growing businesses. And I can't wait to meet you. I'll be there. We'll have a little chat with the other 400 people in the room. It's big enough, but intimate enough to really learn the stuff that I know that scales businesses. Cannot wait to see you at Business Masterclass. Now, every year the tickets go like hotcakes, so make sure you get your ticket now. The tickets are £299 as we're making this video, but they grow in value depending on how late you leave it. So get your tickets now before the price goes up. And I'll see you at Business Masterclass to grow your business.
Matthew, good afternoon. Thank you for being on the pod. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm very well, guys. Thanks for the introduction.
Pleasure. Thank you for being here. So could you give us, obviously we've talked a little bit about it and we've done the information that you've provided within your application to be on the pod, and obviously you're meeting up with Jimbo tomorrow for a one-to-one session, because I think you're also coming to Business Masterclass, which is very exciting. But in your own words, can you give us a little summary of Hollands and the brilliant 4th generation family business that you guys are?
Yes, no problem. So Holland's Country Clothing, online retailer in modern day. Originally, it used to be a market trader, country show business, set up in 1978. We went online in 2008. I run it now with my sister and my brother. They look after teams within the business, and then I'm the managing director. Keeps us busy.
Interesting. It's an increasingly, I think it's a very difficult space to be in. I think it's amazing that you're doing those sorts of revenues. Would you put that down to establishment or PPC or both?
I would say that we have been a disruptor within our niche industry in the last 5 years in particular. Prior to the pandemic, we were growing considerably year on year, and when I joined, we were doing £240,000 a year. So while we've been established as a trading entity for quite a long period of time, the business, I would say, in terms of like how well known it is within our niche, it's not very, very well established. You've got competitors out there that are kind of household names that our target consumer has been buying from for a long period of time.
What value of stock do you sit on at any one time?
That's a good question. Well, when we did the pre-pack deal last year, we were sat on 900,000, which we carried over, obviously, and paid slightly less for it in the new limited company. But during the pandemic, that peaked to close to 2 million. It was like 1.8, something like that, which, yeah, we had a lot of stock and not as much cash.
So when you bought that back into the pre-pack, did you have to pay 900 grand up front? How did you cash flow that?
No. We had the stock was valued by a valuation agent, and it was valued at a much lower price than
Fine.
that, because the realizable value, arguably, you wouldn't be able to get what you paid for it. So we paid a lot less. To us, it's probably worth close to that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see over the next few years if we can turn it back into cash.
And how quick do you turn your stock?
So our inventory turnover ratio is kind of like 6 at the moment on an annualized basis. I think we can get it higher, and part of that, and the reason why that, I think that's quite a good number, but the reason why it's quite good, I think, is because we operate on a just-in-time basis for a lot of our orders now. So yeah,
Because that's the magic begins. The quicker I'm sure you know this, is how quick you can turn the stock. It really dictates the cash flow improvement in the business, the profit improvement in the business, never having to worry about cash in the business. Have you watched my YouTube video about Costco?
I have, yeah. So yeah,
I mean, it is unbelievable. Just for listeners that don't know, I think it's worth sort of taking some time to mention this. Costco turn their stock 12.4 times a year. They're turning it before they have to pay for it. I mean, it is mind-blowing. I mean, especially, Matthew, you will understand. I mean, that would be the thing of dreams for you, wouldn't it? Yeah, you get...
Sorry for cutting you off there, James.
No,
we have close to that, I would say, in the sense that 55% of our orders now, we capture the sale for it prior to us receiving the stock into our warehouse. So we have like this, I describe it as just in time, but it's whereby the customer buys, say, a double XL on a slower fulfillment time, and they purchase it from us, and then we order it from the supplier the next day, but then don't pay for it for another 30 days. So it's that's quite a good model, and I would say that's the thing that saved the business during the pre-pack period. We introduced it in September 22.
Do customers get frustrated they're not getting it straight away, though?
No, because it's advertised on the product page, it's advertised at checkout, and they're notified on the order confirmations. It is a little bit of a challenge, but we manage expectations throughout the kind of the consumer purchase journey.
So just to break that down for listeners, 55% of the money that's coming into your business is effectively, you guys are almost acting in the role of like a middleman. So the end consumer, so the B2C part of it, the consumer buys it through the website, you then order it from the supplier, and you've sold it to your end customer before you have to pay for it from the supplier.
Yes, I wouldn't obviously want to advertise it on the website in the words that you've chosen there. I would say all. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, thanks for that. Online, I think all retailers are middlemen effectively that are selling the brands that they don't own. The way we operate is we constantly have deliveries coming in from suppliers. So our top selling SKUs, we hold stock in. What we're talking about here is the things that some of our competitors won't have stock in because they don't want to hold a size 13 safety dealer boot in the summer when it's not raining. Whereas we will have access to that, so it actually gives the consumer a wider choice of product.
Yeah, I think 6 times a year is way better than a independent retailer. A shop retailer would be 3.5 times a year on average. Costco's 12.4 times a year, and Walmart would be 8 times a year, just to give listeners some sort of gauge of where the marketplace is at. Okay, right. Let's get into these. Oh dear, my thing's just crashed.
Shall I give you the challenges again? So challenge number 1, moving forward from failure. So last year we did the pre-pack administration. Since then we've hit EBITDA of 725, net profit of 545 for the period October to June, and we are completely...
Magic 10% is there to...
There again, rearing its head yet again. Doesn't matter how much effort or bloody money you put into this thing, you still get 10%. And we are now completely debt-free. So what's been the biggest challenge I imagine there's been many of them, but what's been the biggest challenge off the back of this sort of pre-pack administration, Matthew, from your perspective, mate?
I think when you're running a business and things aren't going very well, and you feel like you're on the right path and you want to persevere, but it's just not working, it's psychologically quite a damaging thing. And I wouldn't say maybe I've got PTSD from it, I don't know, but it was hard, and it was hard for the family as well. Like my brother and sister, we went through a really tough time. We didn't pay ourselves for a while. And I think the reason for the framing of that question is like, how do we now look to the future and continue to take the risks that are necessary to drive the business forward? And yeah, it's a difficult thing. I think we were very lucky. Well, it wasn't luck. We were very good in managing the relationships with our suppliers. We didn't lose any suppliers during the process. We looked after them all, and then we paid the administrator off as well for purchasing the goods and the branding and everything else in the last 7-9 months. So it's been difficult. It's been very difficult, and I think it's just how we look to the future and go, right, we've got a great business here. How do we level it up now and move beyond that period?
What say you, Jimbo Sinclair? Because you picked up businesses that have obviously been in a similar situation, but then you come in as new management. I think it's a challenge, isn't it, if you're the existing team of management, I guess.
Yeah. It is difficult, but it happens way more than you think. If you look at any business that's been around a long time, there's been bumps in the road somewhere. I think, how do you avoid this ever happening again, is working on yourselves to be the best possible business owner you can be. Difficult as well, actually. There's a few things that I think listeners should be aware of. Being in a family business where your siblings report into you, that's really challenging. Have you got kids yet, mate?
I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I was having a pillow fight with Arthur before we jumped on the call, actually.
Interesting. When your siblings have children and you have children, I'm telling you this now because it will be a conversation in 10, 12 years' time if they consider working in the business. You've got to be really careful how you manage that dynamic, because as more and more family members come in, the worse politics come in. And it's really important that someone's in charge, and that might be unpopular, but it is the right thing for the business. So are you like de facto MD at the moment?
So I'm the largest shareholder in the business, and then my sister is the second largest, and then Robert is a smaller shareholder. I think we've got a pretty good system of how we run the business. I'm, I suppose, the leader of the business, and I come up with a lot of ideas and I drive things in the right direction and what have you. But when it comes to the decision making, we do discuss and consult, and I wouldn't really drive something through without Robert and Sarah's consent. So it's kind of
no. I agree. But that's even the. I own 100% of all of my businesses, but if Janky and Aaron, who I love very much, don't agree with something I want to do, like I went to buy a business 2 months ago, a particular business, and they weren't really on board with it. So I wanted to do it, and they said, look, we really don't get this and like it, and so we didn't go ahead.
Really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If Aaron and Janky do not give me a green light, we're not doing it.
Really interesting. Okay.
But the point here is, the 1,200 people that work for us and them know that a decision's going to be made. I call it running a business under democratic dictatorship. It sounds like you've got a democracy in your business that you wouldn't go ahead without their blessing because you need them to help you to get it over the line. But as more people get involved, someone has to be in charge. There has to be a CEO. There has to be an MD. There has to be a ruler. Otherwise, you become a stagnant government that never really gets anything done. You become like the UK Parliament that really hasn't done anything in the last 25 years. But then you go and look at a country like Dubai that from 1980 has come from literally
out of the desert.
Of the desert. That's because there's a ruler that's going, and I'm not saying that we all want this, but, look at what's happened in China, under a dictatorship, just get stuff done.
Yeah.
Go. But
do you think that's even harder in a family business?
I do, and I've worked with lots of family businesses, and it's good that you're the majority shareholder, because at the end of the day, you do call the shots and then the right thing is not to behave like that, bring people with you.
They know you've got the power to do it if you need to.
But they know that, so if you're the largest shareholder, we can get stuff done. And what happens in family businesses, and Matt, I promise you this, when for your kids, it's really relevant now, that you're the king of that business, and your sisters and brother are the prince and princess, but you are the king. And then when your children come in, and then when your brother and sister's children come in, that's a big dynamic to manage, and it can ruin a business because no one's in charge.
I think that is something that's kind of not necessarily my children and Robert's children and Sarah's potentially children coming into the business. I don't fear that. What I fear is I think online retail is a very, very competitive and difficult space to stay as a kind of a leader and a front runner. And I'm very privileged to have a reasonable amount of experience in the space, and I'm good at running the business, but I wouldn't want to pass this to them in its current form. And I think part of the next challenges that we've got to discuss is like, how do we pass it on to the next generation in a way that is stable? And I don't think running an online retailer, unless I can mentor and develop the next leader in the business for a long period of time, I don't think it is really achievable. But I mean, maybe it is.
Maybe if you want to preserve family wealth, you sell the business and keep a stake in it, and you sell it to a much bigger retailer, and you go and buy a load of commercial property and rent it out.
I think that's where I see us going in the next 10 years. I'd love to build it and build the story and everything, but I'd love for a JD Group or a Sports Direct to buy our group of online businesses, maybe in 10 years' time. That would be my ideal scenario, and then diversify into slow money.
Smart, baby. I like it.
Sorry, go on then.
No, I just like it.
You do like it. It feeds into your playbook, doesn't it? Challenge number 2: keeping hungry. We've only had one good 9-month period. We need to repeat the autumn winter of 2024 multiple times. How can we best support that challenge, Matt? Give us a bit more context.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, yeah, these aren't. They're a little bit vague. I think what I'm trying to get at there is we had a good 2019-20, which was great, and then the previous 3 years have been really challenging to make money due to market conditions and our own decision making. And I suppose we've got the recipe now. We've had a great period, but it's like, how do we repeat that? Obviously, the easy thing to say is, I'll just do the same thing again. But in business, I find that if you don't keep tweaking it and driving it and moving it forward, it's kind of, I think we're at the stage now where we need another good winter, and then after that we can look to bolt things on that maybe help protect us from challenges in the future. But we definitely need some cash in the bank as well. So yeah.
Should we answer that now? I think we should.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I think there's 2 things I would like you to do. I would like you to find 5 or 6 people that have got businesses that sell online between 5 and 10 million, or 3 and 10 million, and arrange to meet up with them 3 or 4 times a year. And one could be selling fishing stuff online. One could be selling plumbing stuff online. It doesn't necessarily have to be fashion online. And share with them, and they share with you what's working for them right now. And you compete with each other, and that will drive you forward, and it will give you them little 1%, 2% improvements that could really help your business. I massively believe in that.
And how would you, I mean, I've actually written this down, part of this as a question to you, but how do you find those people? Because I find I've been to networking events and things like that, and you tend to just bump into people.
Well, I'll tell you what, are you coming to Business Masterclass?
I am, yes, as is Robert and Sarah.
Right. So the 3 of you.
The family are coming.
We are going to arrange that mastermind in the room. You make sure you come up to me in one of the breaks and say, James, and you remind me, JB.
Yeah.
We will do it on that day. We will find there's loads of online retailers and people like that in the room. And I'm just going to say, look, I've got this guy here, blah, 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 blah. If anyone would like to meet up and chew the fat so that you all mutually grow your business, there's no cost you doing it. One of you is going to hire a little venue. You can do it 4 times a year, and we will try and make that happen in the room on the day.
I think that's like a dream for me, being able to, I've got a friend who runs an online business. They do more turnover than us, and I do what you're talking about. But we have very common problems, and I think if we could extend that out to maybe, and Tom is actually coming. Tom from Avenue 85. Shout out to Avenue 85. Those guys, they run leisure and sportswear online.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
Yeah, he's coming online. He's coming to the masterclass as well. So yeah, if we could get another 5 or 6 businesses in that group, then that would be fantastic.
Brilliant. So there's that. We'll try and make that happen. But also, I just want to talk, and I'm sure you're doing it really good, but I think this business, more than most, is really good for reminder marketing. We do a catalogue for Party Pieces. It costs us about 30 pence to make a really good catalogue if you get them printed enough. I would do the catalogue twice a year and put it in with each order, and then do a direct mail campaign. It costs you about 40 grand a year to do a catalogue campaign, including the postage to, I think, send to 25,000 people, something like that. I think strategically getting that landing on the doors in September, October is a really smart thing to do.
And would you with that, James, would you target cold leads, or would you target your customers that are buying from you
existing
repeatedly?
Existing customers.
So yeah, okay. And
people love catalogues are good, but they've got to be good, right? They've got to be good.
My wife collects them for fun. Every supermarket, the Waitrose one, she loves the Waitrose one. People sits on the coffee table, people pick it up when they come to the house.
There's something, do you know, there's a big thing in retail online about bricks and clicks. Like Next do an incredible amount of business online. John Lewis do an incredible amount of business online, and they have more trust because they've got bricks, because people want to use their clicks because they've got bricks. I've used Next online, I've used John Lewis online, and I'm not using PPC, I'm typing in Next or John Lewis, I'm going direct to the website because, you know, I've grown up with their bricks around us. And I think the challenge for a John Lewis and a Next and a Marks and Spencer is thinking, well, we do an incredible amount of online business, why are we opening up more stores? And, you know, when you look at JD Sports and you look at Mike Ashley, there is still a space for bricks and there is still a space for clicks. I buy most of my clothes in store still.
From Michael Fracklewick.
No, I mean, most of it's in John Lewis because it's convenient, it's close to me.
Yeah.
And I know what I like. I do buy some stuff from Mr. Porter every now and then, but only because I get credit card points. I don't have to pay for the stuff, but I wouldn't buy it without that. But I do think reminder marketing, John Lewis are very good at it. Next, they've all got catalogues and direct mail. They're doing this stuff. Next are really good marketeers. Next, they've got it. They're just good at it. And I think catalogues give you, the reason I'm saying this is it gives you that bricks and clicks appeal, i.e.
it's kinesthetic, isn't it? Yeah, in a digital world.
Yes, you're more trustworthy.
More real.
And if you send something in the post to someone and it comes with a catalogue of sorts, then that catalogue doesn't necessarily always get thrown in the bin. It hangs around and it becomes a little billboard within the house.
And I mean, it's quite a big topic, direct mail, and I suppose my mind's running now with lots of different ideas. But you would focus primarily on a catalogue, which would be like our best sellers, and it'd be something substantial to hold, or are you talking about a flyer?
No, not a flyer. Make it look like, because a flyer does get thrown in the bin.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, no one throws a book away. Do you know what I mean? If I send someone a copy of my book, it doesn't go in the bin, it goes on the shelf. It has some sort of value. A flyer gets thrown in the bin. A catalogue, I think we do a 64-page catalogue. It costs us 27 pence and it can be cheaper than that.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. And then how much does it cost to get delivered? You liaise with Royal Mail directly?
The postage is more than the cost of the catalogue.
Right, yeah.
So we send it second class. But I've said with Party Pieces, what we're going to do now, and I want to talk to you about personalisation a minute. Don't let me forget personalisation, JP. Write it down. Putting it in with every order is the new strategy we're going to do. We're going to do one catalogue all year. So I want them to put it in every order rather than actually sending it out in the post as much, which was the strategy of Party Pieces for 30 years. Because I said, well, look, if someone's ordered from us and they've given us a 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, £100 order and they get a catalogue and they put that, I remember that, I'll keep the catalogue, and that'll just be, it's got something, like you said, what did you say was the
kinesthetic?
Yes, exactly that.
Touch and feel.
It's not a book, but it's, and if you see the Rolex catalogue, oh my God, The Rolex catalogue is like the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah.
Must have cost them £7.50 to print this in bulk. And we've got it in our guest room at home so people can see it and, choose which Rolex they would like to buy. But that's just a catalogue.
Yeah.
And it's on the bookshelf. Do you see what it does, And it's so cheap to do. And here's the thing, Matt, remember, you're spending £500,000 on Google Ads. £500,000 on Google Ads. I'm just saying, take 8% of that, 40 grand. Probably not even that, because that's including the postage for us. I'm saying you take 20 grand of that and have some printed catalogues, and one goes in each order.
Do you have someone that you can introduce us to that would help us with?
A business
we've
masterclass.
Got marketers.
A business masterclass. I am going to. Our head of Party Pieces is going to be at business masterclass, and I'll arrange a little coffee break with Emma, and you can sit and chew the fat because she's in charge of catalogue. What probably costs you more is getting it put together and the design work and the hours that go into that. But once you've done one, the next one you're just improving on, and it becomes a lot quicker.
Right, I'm with you, yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This is an interesting fact or quote of the week, but if it was bonus interesting quote or fact of the week, be unusual in a very usual world. So what's usual right now? Spending money on Meta, spending money on Google. I would say 90% of the people that have been on this podcast are doing that. Would you say that's fair, JB?
Yeah.
Around about. And I reckon 10% send something in the post.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I just
sorry, James.
It's more unusual. Hardly anyone's doing it now.
Works with this market as well. Doesn't it? This market.
Oh my God, it works so much with country bumpkins.
They'll sit and read that when they get through, when it comes through, won't they?
But I'm going to help you even more. Here
it goes, guys.
There we go.
You should make sure there's articles in there, so it's like a newsletter. It has real value. Do you get the James Sinclair newsletter?
I do, yeah.
Do you love reading it every Monday at 7 a.m?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and you feel connected to it. You're
I think,
now listen to me. I've not finished yet, Matthew. I've not finished yet. Listen
Apologies.
to me. You are very lucky that you have a niche audience, which is mainly, I'm guessing, woofties, well off over 50s, or people that want to look like a wooftie, even if they're younger. They were talking about 20-year-olds that dress like their granddad in the country. That's just the way it goes. They want to look like farmers, smell like farmers, be like farmers. And they love reading niche article-y stuff. They still read House and Country or Country Life and all that palaver. And I've got lots of farming friends. As you know, I've got a couple of farm parks. And I think you should get articles in there and that are interesting. But here's where it gets really good. I think you can get this for free, because you can go to your suppliers and you can say, would you like to be in part of our catalogue? So you got some of them big brands. Look, we want to do some stuff. We want to do a competition, or we want to give you a couple of page spread. I reckon you can get 20 grand's worth of print contribution from your suppliers to be in your magazine.
I'm almost certain that would be the case.
I'm almost certain that it'd be the case. I'd even lay £2.50 on it that it would be the case.
Big money, guys.
So this is not only free for you now, you could probably make money from it. It probably cost you 20 grand. You could probably bring in 35 grand from your suppliers that will pay for the salary of the person that puts the catalogue together. And it would absolutely make you become way more real. And I would rather you do that than open a store. Now, if you did want to open a store, which you alluded to at the beginning in the pre-chat on the podcast, I think you should take a concession in like a saddlery centre or somewhere like that, where all these people hang about rather than on a high street.
Yeah, I think
in a country house, maybe something like that,
Yeah, the kind of the physical store idea, it's founded in some of the suppliers I would love to work with in the future. They have a requirement for a physical location, so a concession in the right spot, like on even a farm that has kind of a butcher's and a few different attractions.
Big farm shop. Whereabouts in the country are you?
We're southeast Manchester, Derbyshire, Cheshire border. We're in the triangle of wealth around Prestbury and those areas.
See, if you could find like a big attraction, like a farm attraction with a big farm thing, what do they call them? Loads of my mates have got them. Like a farm shop village thing.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And you can take a big space. But do you know why you want the shop?
To attract bigger brands, so we can move.
That's why you
the
think you want it.
but-
That's why you think you want it. But I want you to have it so it becomes your studio for video content.
Excellent.
That's
Have
why
you
you
looked
want
at our
it.
YouTube channel?
No.
I have had a go at videos, and that was on my agenda for tomorrow. So I don't want to.
So you've got your shop, and you've got your shop, and you go, look, because this is going to be hard to make money from a shop. But you want to get 2 people in there full time making content, trying on clothes, taking clothes off, talking about the quality. Your suppliers will love it. They will start sharing it to their biggest fans and customers, which is going to drive so much more traffic back to your Instagram page, back to your Facebook page, back to your LinkedIn page, because your suppliers, they've got brands probably with big followings. You want them to pick you up and start sharing you. So you want to have 2 people full-time on content marketing in that shop, because you're probably only going to get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 customers a day for the first couple of years while you're building up momentum. But if you can see it as a TV studio that is doing marketing and content marketing for you, inviting influencers in, you pay an influencer, look, we would like to invite you in. We're going to pay you £350 for the day, plus give you £1,000 worth of clothes. And we just want to film, and you film and talk about you trying all the stuff on and just telling us what you think of all the clothes in our shop. And you do that every single day. Oh my God, that will give you such a better return than giving Google £500,000 a year, plus the catalogue, plus that.
Wow. Yeah. I think that concept of it becoming a bit of almost a celebrity shop over time on social within our niche could be like, that could be powerful.
Because you're going to open this shop and you go, how much have we done today? 120 quid, because it's only open one day. The shops establishment is what gets people. I mean, you will get people directly go to you, blah, 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 but that takes time. But if you can flip it and think, the reason we're opening a shop is for content marketing, you have a very different view on it.
Yeah. And okay, and if I was with the videography and that side of things, is that something you think one of the directors should do, i.e. me, Sarah or Robert, or do you think we should bring someone in, a content producer, and they should be the main?
I think you should have 2
in the shop doing it.
I think you should have 2 content people just doing this full time. And maybe you have a team of 3, one's doing the catalogue, one's doing that. So if you're not doing content marketing, you're not going to win, are you? Especially in this space. I mean, this is so important.
Yeah, I
would even do I would speak to JB about doing a podcast as well, because this country shooting, fishing-y industry, like if they're listening to the podcast created by your brand, but it's not to sell clothes, but just to talk about holidays that these people like, things that these people like, all of that. It's just the country people's podcast, the Living in the Country podcast by Holland's Country Clothing, that sort of thing. And it's a beautiful, it's forcing you to make content. And you should do some of it, but you'll be busy building your business. And so it's really important that doesn't ever come second, because content marketing, you don't just make 10 videos and watch the cash come in. You make 1,000 videos and then watch the cash really come in.
I mean, that's what happened because we did some videos in 22 and 23 on YouTube, and they cost us quite a lot of money, and it was a lot of my time messing around, and I just didn't commit to it, and then we were in financial difficulty, so we kind of slowed down on spending on things like that. But I can see a vision in the future where that could be big for us. And
right, well, we've got a one-to-one. I'm looking at the YouTube. I don't know if you've got that necessarily right. And what isn't right is just to make content for the sake of content. The podcast shouldn't be talking about clothes. It should be a place where people want to go to listen. You know, people will not come into this podcast and me just talking about business masterclass for an hour, or JB talking about his podcast agency for an hour. We build relationships, but everyone knows we run seminars and everyone knows he's got a podcast agency. And when people go, I'd like to have a podcast now made by someone, they're going to JB. But that's because we've put the reps and sets in to build a relationship, and we actually enjoy making the pod. Yeah, and then as a byproduct of that work, people think of us first.
How many days a month do you spend on the podcast, James? Just out of interest.
Well, I think, I don't think you're asking me the right question there, because I think I'm going to scare you about how much time I now make on content. But it's not just the podcast.
It's actually staggering.
Yeah, you're on a different level. Yeah, I mean, it's
content.
Yeah, I don't think. And I don't know necessarily. Listen, look at my history. I used to be a magician. Then I was a kids' entertainer. I'm pretty confident being on camera, being on stage, doing this stuff. I actually like doing it. And I think I'd always be doing something like this. It's in my DNA. And it doesn't have to be you doing this. It can be someone that you employ. Maybe your sister or your brother are the right person to do it. Whoever can be consistently on it. In terms of people, though, I mean, my personal brand probably has the equivalent of 3.5 full-time equivalents just doing James Sinclair now. And probably if you had 4, if you had a bit of your team editing and doing the stuff. So there's like 4 full-time equivalent people doing the James Sinclair stuff. That could be newsletters, books, YouTube main channel, podcast, editing my newsletter, managing socials.
It's a lot of people. If you look at it from one perspective, there's a hell of a lot of output. Yeah. When you look at the hours and the reach of that content,
and the return is great if you put the time in. Really see content. I like to tell people, see content as buying a property. You don't make any money in year 1. You probably just cover your investment. But after 10 years, you've paid a big chunk of the mortgage down, the rents have gone up, and you watch all the money come in. Now, what's good about you is you've got over the hill of spending money on PPC. We're spending £500,000 on PPC. Probably the smart thing to do is put 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand into content marketing and catalogues that will probably give you the best value customers.
So in terms of priority order, you would say the direct mail side of things is the number 1 priority, and then you'd look at the concession shop, and then you'd look at the podcast and content.
I think all of it is
top of that.
Well, look, we've got an hour together tomorrow, and we'll go over it. But I think if you look at JD Sports, we spoke about them, and now they done a big YouTube show. What was it called? One of my clients, Joe Conda, who's Dad v Girls, his daughter was in it. And it was like Locked Up or something.
They've got quite a few offshoots now, I think, haven't they?
But JD are making a horrific amount of content on YouTube. It is, and this is, no, it was their version of Big Brother on YouTube. Millions of views. And the winner got 250,000, something like that. But they're making, what I'm trying to say is they're not making content to say, oh, look at these trainers. Look at this T-shirt. Isn't the material lovely? They're actually making content that their audience want to watch. And then as a result, they sell loads of stuff.
Just look at their top new content, all 5 videos, nothing to do with clothing.
Yeah. Red Bull marketing, right. Everything Red Bull do. And it's not like, oh, this drink tastes great. It's how does it make you feel? Where are your audience hanging about? And then obviously there's product placement. But that's very different. And I think if you did some of that stuff with a podcast, the podcasts are great for niche audience. Well, JP, you know that more than any of us, But, people that listen to our podcast, we're a niche audience. Well, there's 150,000 people in the UK that probably would be interested really listening to our dribble, and 1 million people worldwide, 2 million, maybe 10 million, 20 million people worldwide that want to listen to business growth tactics, maybe a bit more. But a comedy podcast, there'd be billions. Yeah. And so we have a niche audience, but when it's a niche audience that can get massive value from, that's when a podcast can really work. And the country podcast by Hollands, It's a great idea.
And then it can be an offshoot. You can give you so much other content from that main piece of content that you can then repurpose to other things. So it can feed your YouTube channel, can feed your blog, can feed your shorts and your clips. Like how many? What are you doing? 3 or 4 clips a day that your team are pumping out now. It's all. Well, a lot of it's podcast content, isn't it?
Yeah, and some of me speaking at conferences. We've started adding that in now because that's we think
it's working though, isn't it?
Yeah. You
can see it's working really well.
It's a one person full time.
Yeah,
cutting up and making sure you're choosing the right clips. But if this was my business, I would have a content marketing strategy. If I'm prepared to spend £500,000 a year on Google, I would definitely have a content marketing strategy.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And like the other kind of ideas in the back of my hand about diversification and kind of looking to move into slow pounds, do you think our primary focus as a team should be on the things that you've outlined there, or do you think we should look immediately at investing in other things, or
I don't think you've got the money to do that now, but I think it should be in your mindset. Absolutely. Really, look, build, business first, property second. It's always that rule. But yeah, I would build this up, sell it for £10 million, put £10 million into commercial property as a family.
Yeah. Okay.
Bosh.
One of the questions that you wanted to ask, Jimbo, was should you diversify away from online retail or double down into that type of business?
You don't want to. Actually, it's a good business. This, if it's making you 700,000 of EBITDA a year, and if the thing is, I think with a content marketing strategy put around it, with getting good at PPC. Do you have a full-time web developer in-house?
So we've got a few guys in India, and I do a lot of the kind of the strategy. We've got a team basically, yeah.
Because if you're building this business to sell, the chief web officer or the web managers, if I was buying this business, that's who I want to be spending time with. If you was going to pitch the business to me, right, who's in charge of the website? I need to meet them because that is what this is.
Yeah.
And so
that's me
you're doing that at the moment, but you need to be. Your role has got to change, and probably now. If you're at 7 million, you need a 100 grand a year web person that's just going to make the website so flipping fantastic. And then you've got your India, Filipini, Shopify people. That's what we've got, but we've got it in-house. We've got 2 actually, Dom and Jane, that know how to make our websites better. And then we're outsourcing some other stuff.
Yeah, I think when we went through the pre-pack last year, we thinned the business down in terms of staff numbers quite considerably. We lost some good people. We didn't have an e-commerce manager of the caliber that you've just suggested there, but that is a role that I think is really important. We've just hired an operations manager because I was up until very recently liaising directly with operations, and that takes up a lot of my time. So I think I just need to free myself up.
I want you working out how you can get Barber, to be someone sell on the website that could make a huge amount of difference to you. I want you working out how you can get 10 of the best influencers in this space, how you can get this podcast launch, how you're going to do a content marketing, all the new stuff. Because, I'm afraid to say, if you've got a £7 million plus website that you want to turn into a £20 million business, which I think you can, you're going to need a chief technology, chief web person that's going to make this website tick, and that's better than you. And they're out there.
That's what I want. Yeah.
They're out there.
There's loads of people better than me.
I think you should try and also, once you've got a bit of money, get a non-exec or that's worked at JD Sports, someone that's left JD or someone that's left a big retailer that's done really well online. There are probably some really good people from Ted Baker at the moment that you can find on LinkedIn. And just say, look, can I pay you a couple of grand every 6 months to just come and sit with us and our team and just give us some pointers? And then 1 month, do that a couple of times a year from different people that have worked in big online fashion retail that probably will, it's nothing to them, but they just give you these massive golden nuggets, these mic drop moments. Go, we're not doing that. Maybe they look at your PPC and go, wow, blah, blah, blah. And there's loads of those people on LinkedIn. Find them.
Yeah. Okay, wow, there's a lot on there.
There's a lot on. I mean, we've got an hour tomorrow, and you can listen back to this podcast. Now, the next thing that we circled and we mustn't forget. Personalization, a big thing that could give you a USP in this space is if you can personalize anything as part of a gifting range. You can spend 10 grand on super duper sewing machines. We've done this at Party Pieces. If there's a scarf that you sell or a cap that you sell that you can put people's names on things, that can really, really help in gifting, increasing gifting.
So we sell a tremendous amount of workwear to farmers, and we've got Holland's Workwear as a website as well. And that kind of like logo and embroidery side of things we haven't explored. It's on my radar, but at the moment, operationally, space is very
It doesn't take a lot of space.
challenging for us.
It doesn't take a lot of space.
Okay.
You need a small office, couple of those machines. Do not charge for it. Let it be included.
Right.
People will think of you. Forget, if they buy a nice gilet, even if it's in the inside pocket. So, to dad, lots of love, blah blah blah, and it's in their inside pocket. Yeah. So sometimes people want it obvious. Maybe they buy a shirt and they can have their initials on the collar, anything like that. That stuff. People really just their initials. I've got it on my shirts, but my tailor does it for me. But those things, it's a nice thing. Older people will wear it and then say, "Oh yeah, my daughter bought me this," and any little gift.
It works so well for this.
I'm just looking. I mean, that when you're having your strategy meetings, gifting. Personalisation around gifting, it's unbelievable. It's 50% of Party Pieces turnover.
Wow.
I mean, that tie, for example. Imagine if you can have the date of a significant date, like put on a tie, like that people can remember. Just people love stuff like that. They're getting married. They can have their socks embroidered on the date of their wedding. It's so easy to do. A little bit of training and your team will be there.
Do you think that there's a lot there, but do you think own brand should be something that we should be focusing on within the next 12 months, or do you think that's further down the line?
Further down the line.
Yeah, so focus on
have the Netflix strategy. Netflix started none of their own content. They built that business on the back of everyone else. When they've got an abundance of cash, and cash is not a problem, go for it. Because that can be something that ties up a lot of cash.
Yeah.
And a lot of storage because you've got to buy for it all up front. And I think one day you will need to go down that route, but today is not that day.
And what about, we're on Shopify at the moment, we've got our own websites, we don't do anything on the marketplaces. Is your opinion steer away from all of that?
I'm not sure on that. I need more time with your business and really get into the management accounts to make a decision. We are on some of the marketplaces. I hate being on there, but we feel like we should have Party Pieces and Teddytastic on Amazon.
It's almost a marketing cost, isn't it, in a way? Brand awareness.
But then if they get an order from you and your catalogue's in the box, that's a good thing. That's why I love the catalogue.
Maybe like a select product range or something like that for brands where we've got the profitability to support it.
Yeah. Lots to discuss. I mean, it's a great business. Any other questions that you want to ask?
I wanted to ask you about debt to cash ratio, and is it something that you monitor in your businesses, and is that something that as we look to in the future invest and take on commercial property and things like that, what kind of percentage do you look for?
I think that's a bit like saying you've got a budget, you have to spend it. Like when the opportunity comes along, if it makes sense, it makes sense. So if you see a commercial property come along and it's making 150,000 rent roll and you can buy it for £1 million, then it makes sense to do. Yeah. I would borrow £10 million tomorrow if the deal was right. So you've got to look at it on the merits and the structure and the numbers of each individual deal.
Right, I'm with you. Okay. And then I've got one final question, which is just intriguing to me, and I don't know if you will answer it or not, but what is your biggest regret or failure in your business career, and how often do you think about that period?
I don't really have many regrets. I think the knowledge base and the stuff that you know now, I think I could have known sooner in my 20s if I'd read the right books and been around the right people and stuff. And probably the biggest regret is not going to enough people to get the finance I need for the dreams that I have. And I think that's, I say a lot on my content now is that most people just go to their trusted advisors and don't look under a new stone to see if there's another pot of gold there. Because I think that's what I've learned. I don't know if that really answers your question. Does it?
It does a little bit. Yeah, thank you.
But I don't really have, because all the things that have gone wrong have taught me things that I can do on this podcast, like easy, difficult is the process of my previous actions. I'm always disappointed though, and I always feel I could have done a lot more, and I haven't done it, and that annoys me. Probably because of constraints on capital. I've got constraints on capital. That's. Yeah. I was listening to some stuff about Microsoft over the weekend, and I was telling JB about this. Microsoft is a business that has no constraints on capital, literally zero. They've got tens of billions of cash just sitting there. The constraints on their growth is if they buy something, they are going to be giving up their time and talent into that next thing, and that is their constraint. It's talent. Whereas most people that come on this podcast, I think they don't ever think that, because they think if I've got more cash, I can get the talent. Yeah. But actually, on the Microsoft level of stuff, this is genius level stuff. They have so many opportunities that they have the economy of a country. There's no joke about it. Just as one single company, but they cannot deploy their talented people enough.
They haven't got a cash flow issue; they've got a talent flow issue.
Yes, and time issue. Because and that's why that's what constrains them.
Does it still annoy you? Do you still get? Because when you talk about that, you get a little bit like misty-eyed about it. Do you feel annoyed you've not gone quicker?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you annoyed at yourself right now, in the here and now then? Because you must still be doing there's still stones you've not turned over right now, surely?
Yeah.
So you just live in a constant state of disappointment and of frustration?
Having children has made me less disappointed because I feel like there's a meaning and a future and stuff like that. But at work, I think I could have done a lot better. I think I could.
Did you go home from a day satisfied? Like, will you go home from today going, oh, that was good? Or you were like, oh, should have.
No, I'm often dissatisfied with my efforts, and I feel like I could have.
Efforts?
Not results.
Outcomes.
I don't know. Yeah. I always think. I think I could have done a lot more. Yeah, because once you've done a certain level of stuff,
you would go, another level, another devil.
Yeah, and I try and make sure that I have systems in place to make sure that I'm push myself forward. Because it's easier not to do that deal. But, I want to do all these things to provide opportunities for all the people that work for me. I've got past, I don't really care about having any more for myself. Like often so people go, if you sell something, what are you going to do? Treat yourself? I'm like, no, we're going back to work.
And you mean it as well, don't you?
Yeah, there's nothing really.
Nothing you need.
I don't want a helicopter, I don't want a plane, I don't want a yacht. I get seasick and airsick. And I think sports cars are incredibly uncomfortable. I don't know why anyone buys them, And so,
Wow, there you go.
You won't catch me wearing one of them gigantic, nasty Hermes belts.
After tomorrow, though, if he's looking for affiliates, he might find you wearing some beautiful Holland's clothing.
There you go.
Maybe.
Just in case people want to go and have a look at the website and all that kind of good stuff, Matthew, give us the web address so we can point some traffic towards you, my man.
So if you just go on Google and type in Holland's Country Clothing, you'll find us. You'll be able to browse the website, and I've got a special discount code for the podcast if anyone's interested.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, so up until the end of this year, 2024, if you enter Hey Gang at checkout, you get 10% off your order. And if you're listening to this in 2025, message me on LinkedIn and I'll sort you out.
So what discount do you get for Hey Gang?
10% off anything on the website.
10% off.
That's great, isn't it?
Wow. Hey gang, gets you 10% off on Holland's Country Clothing. I love it.
Amazing stuff. Well, Jimbo, we'll see you tomorrow. We will. The rest of us, the slightly wider audience, will see you at Business Masterclass with your brother and your sister.
Yes.
Hopefully, and we set up a mastermind live in the room.
This would be out by the time.
Of course, yeah, we've already done it.
Yeah, we've already done it.
I forget we're back recording in the past. Yeah, we've already done it, and I can't believe the results that Matthew's already had. Isn't that right, Matthew?
Yeah, it's incredible.
What an event it was, right?
It was amazing.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's bloody enthusiastic over here. Right, great. Yeah. All right, have a fantastic day, Jimbo, tomorrow. Thank you for being on the pod, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, pal. All the best. What a lovely fella.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Another smart operator.
Smart operator.
Knows it inside out and back to front. That's got to be tricky, right? Working with not one, but two of your siblings.
Well, luckily he owns the majority of it because that means he's in charge. That's really important, that.
Would you, here's a question, would you ever buy into a business if you couldn't be the majority stakeholder?
Yep.
Would you?
Yeah, in the future, I think I'll start a little private equity company and help people grow. But yeah.
How much would you need to have, though?
I don't know. It depends on the deal.
Enough.
And how much you're putting in.
Enough that you've got actual clout in terms of like, well, I can forcibly tell you to do this thing because I'm telling you to do this thing. Or
yeah, I
just
think you can do that
enough
by, like a bank, by having a charge over the business, debentures over the business. But I think it's important that if we buy in something and help something that, I mean, it's a deal by deal basis, JB. Sometimes, you know, if we put 300 grand into a business to help it grow and we only had 30%, we would want to charge over the shares and a debenture over the company until we've been settled in full. It's all on a case by case basis.
I can't imagine in a situation where you haven't got, when you're not the end.
But that's when you're acting as an investor, isn't it? If I was running it.
Oh, here's a thing.
That's different.
Oh, here's a thing. Right. So, you know your whole pyramid thing, what'd you call it?
Entrepreneur's pyramid.
That's the thing with Jiggy. So there's
solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, investorpreneurs.
So do you perceive that investor is one stage elevated above investorpreneur?
No, not in the entrepreneur's pyramid, but the investorpreneur is the entrepreneur on steroids. But, you know, I think as you get older and you might have a different process of investing in other people and helping them, and you then become just an investor. I want to start a private equity firm. That's what I want to do in the future.
Well, there you go. Jim's bins that we talked about a couple of weeks ago as an episode might not be such a far-flung idea. Hey, I know what you're thinking, though. Everyone's going, oh, well, that's a lovely episode. Is it time to wrap up? Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no, not these days, guys. We're only halfway through. Strap yourselves in. We've got another half to go yet,
Well, should we do the rating first?
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about the rating.
Okay, we're going to do 8 traits of the great entrepreneur.
I think he's done well here.
Okay, so we've got 8 traits, starting with the end in mind.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets that, passionate about their cause.
100%.
Huge amounts of resilience.
Without question.
They master relationships with people.
Yeah, I'd say he does.
Commercial awareness.
He had suppliers and they're still pals.
Yeah. Commercial awareness.
Yes, definitely.
They innovate so they don't evaporate.
For sure.
Master marketeer.
I think he's got half
because he could be really good.
He could be amazing.
Yeah, the stay teachable and curious.
Yes. Look at this, guys. He's only got himself 7.5 out of 8. Thanks, Ben and the
Yeah, I mean, I will give him the 7.5, but
because that's literally the score. What's this for?
Yeah, we'll give it to him.
What? No. What?
I think it's a very high score. Will he get there in a few years? Yeah, but this is, yeah. I think there's the master marketeers. He's doing just the PPC stuff, which I appreciate. They innovate, so they don't evaporate. Yeah, he's innovating, but he's not doing the best innovation on.
Do you want to? Should we do it again?
But I think he's doing all of it a little bit.
Oh, okay. He's a dabbler. He's a bit of a dabbler.
Like, he's not doing the innovation stuff that I would do if I was an online retailer, like the ideas that I gave him. Like, if he said he had his shop and
A
he was
shop
doing
with
content,
a studio, fair enough.
It's good. Don't get me wrong. He is good. I think 7.5 was a bit generous.
Do you reckon?
He's got it now. So
He has got it now.
Congratulations. It's 7.5. But
We've had some great entrepreneurs on in the last
yeah,
couple
yeah.
of
I mean,
episodes,
don't get
haven't
me wrong. This is a £7 million turnover business. He's been through a loss and then sorted it out. There's some.
we? That must be so tough, mustn't it?
Yeah.
The day after something like that happens, like when you've had to actually sign the paperwork to go, yeah,
that maketh the man.
I failed at that. You got to take that on the chin, haven't you? And on some level, that was a fail.
Yeah, and he said in the pre-chat how much it affected him. Because no one wants to go through that.
No.
That's why Rudyard Kipling's poem "If" can really help you there. Well, I won't make you read it again.
No, because
That's previous.
Yeah, it was painful.
It hasn't come out
painful
yet.
for
It has
for
come
listener.
out for now, but yeah.
In our fake little world that we live in,
Yeah.
which is slightly strange. I know what you're thinking, guys. Well, that was a good episode. Now I'm really glad that it's finished. Still not over. That's right, because it's now time for the latest of 17 featured on the show. It's time for factoids. We can't call it factoids.
It's called The Price is Right, spelled with a Z.
Yeah, the prize. Oh no!
Higher or lower?
What did Ben come up with earlier?
What did you come up with earlier, Ben?
Right.
Right this price.
Right. It's time for.
Basically, we're paying The Price is Right.
You can't say it for IP. Fremantle are going to kill you.
Oh, come after us, Fremantle. We'll make some content about it. Basically, this part of the show, JB, you tell them, because
So in this envelope, which has been masterfully put together,
who's this? Star Wars.
in this, which if you're listening, you it means a bit less, but listen, that's the envelope. So in this envelope,
Wax sealed.
wax sealed, being number 3 in the order of things, because these lot are so organised. There is a fact about business, a key fact or a metric or some information, and we have to guess higher or lower ish, closest to the right answer about an essential element of business. I've unleashed the wax seal. You'll
So,
should
we? So the first one we ever did was how many billionaires are there in the UK?
Yes.
In the world.
In the world.
Second one was what's the price of a cruise ship?
That was great.
So JB won the first one. I won the second one.
And now the third one.
So
Here we go.
Can we get the trophies?
Oh, this is good.
We'll explain trophies as well. So
Trophy and the wooden
Sharabi
spoon is now
Doos
coming in.
is just bringing in at the trophies.
I was calling
Put them
Ben
here.
Sharabi Doos. Is that definitely the name we're going with? Sharabi Doos.
So we've got the winner's trophy, which obviously I am
The
the
winner
reigning
takes it
champion,
all.
and the reigning loser over there has got the wooden spoon.
Standing small. The wooden spoon, that's it.
Okay, what are you going to give us it?
I am checking it's on the right camera. Sharabi Doos giving us a thumbs up. The question is, what is the average age of an entrepreneur in the United States of America?
Well, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because
I know
someone
this.
that's just
I bet I know this to the number.
that is what is an entrepreneur? Someone that's just a jobbing plasterer or a jobbing electrician or someone that's employed.
See what he's done here, guys? You might notice he's starting to preemptively get excuses for why this has gone wrong in advance.
Let me just see the question. Let me just see.
No, because you're going to try and look through
No, I
it.
won't,
You
I
are.
won't.
Right, you can look at it on the dark table so you can't see through.
What is the average age of an entrepreneur in the United States?
We've got Elon shaking the hand of Bill. I'm not going to look at it too much because I think I actually can see that through the... I could see that through, but I didn't see it through. I've already got... I'm going to write down my answer. Bum, 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 bum.
I'm going to go with 40.
40.
What are you going with?
James Sinclair, award-winning entrepreneur, is going 40. I have gone with 44. Are you ready?
Let's have a look.
Correct age. The average age of an entrepreneur in the United States of America, 36.4.
Oh, I was going to say 39.
Were you? James Sinclair is right again, which is a word that literally sticks in my throat as it comes out my face. The number of millennial business owners... Hang on, this is interesting. The number of millennial business owners has increased 27% since 2023.
Interesting.
Baby boomers decreased by 7%. I wonder if the 7% has gone towards the 27%. It probably has. More Gen Z youngsters have expressed an interest in business in 2024 than any other year. So the correct answer, the average age of an entrepreneur in the United States of America is 36.4 years.
Well, there you go. I'll keep my winner's trophy.
You can take that home with you, and I will take home my spoon.
Yes.
Photo opportunity.
There we go. Well, thanks very much for listening to the podcast.
I love that section of the show.
I love interesting facts or quotes. Interesting facts or quote of the week. I like Trace the Greats, and I also love Higher or Lower.
Do you? I like it all. Do you know what I like more than anything on this show? I just like spending time with you.
Yeah, me too.
I
love spending time with me.
Wholeheartedly, yeah, I bet you do. Wholeheartedly, I think you are one of the best business thought leaders in this country. I genuinely do. I just think you are brilliant. Thanks, I don't care what everyone else says about you. I think you're all right. If you have enjoyed this episode, please feel free to rate, review, subscribe or follow on one of your podcast apps. And by the way, if you're on Apple or Spotify, going, well, where the bloody hell do I do that? Top right of your screen right now, there's a follow button. You see that one? Yeah, that's it. Click that. Bosh. Thank you very much. And click subscribe on YouTube and leave us a comment, leave us a review. If you've got some feedback, by the way, on today's episode, we love the comments in YouTube. We've got some brilliant comments in YouTube. And thanks for listening. You got anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Well, we'll see you on the next one then.
Subscribe, like, do all that good stuff.
Ta-da!
Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.